We're going to use a portfolio with a starting value of $400,000. Inflation-adjusted draws at 3.5%. Borrowers are a retired couple. They have $27,000 in combined Social Security income, and they want to maintain a lifestyle that costs $53,000 a year. So they need the income from the portfolio to offset the difference between the 27 and the 53 that they actually need. So here's what their entire life in retirement would look like under HECM as a last resort. Starting retirement at age 62, they retired in 1973. The reason they used these years in the study was because everyone that retired in 73 experienced sequence of returns risk. They were down markets 2 years in a row at that point. The other reason they used this year is because intentionally 2008 is not in here. And the reason they intentionally left that out is because most wealth management firms see that as an anomaly, right? You've got to go all the way back to the Great Depression to find similar numbers to what happened in 2008. Now, the good news is they did run the numbers over 2008, and it worked fantastic, right? But they wanted to give everyone in the study the most likely situation, right, against sequence of returns risk. So here are portfolio draws annually in this column. We've got HECM draws annually in this column. We've got portfolio value at the start of the year. And if you notice, this isn't $400,000 because on day one, they took out $26,000 to live off of that year, right? And then they used a 60-40 portfolio. We could get into a whole other webinar, whether or not you should put clients in a 60-40 portfolio. That's just what they used in this study. This is portfolio performance as a percentage, performance as a dollar amount, portfolio value at the end of the year, and then the AUM fee of 1%, assuming that you charge 1% as an advisory fee to your clients. So since this is HECM as a last resort, we're not going to touch the HECM until when? Until the last resort, until this portfolio is completely drained. They've run out of money. They're no longer a wealth management client. You close the account, we say goodbye and good luck, right? And they live off of the HECM for the remaining years and the most expensive years of retirement, right? And so let's look at the results of that strategy. Portfolio is exhausted in 5.2 years. The value was zero. And the fees collected by the advisor in the firm over the life of the relationship, $83,074. Now, what is this coordinated strategy as an option? Well, it's so ridiculously simple. You're going to wonder why nobody thought of it before. Step one, establish the HECM line of credit prior to the first day of retirement. So get it in place, let the credit line start growing. Step two, evaluate portfolio performance at the end of each year. So we're just going to take a look once a year and decide, is it up or is it down? If it's up, then we're going to take the next annual draw from the portfolio. We're going to stay on the portfolio. But on those occasional years where the market goes down, instead we're going to take that year's draw from the HECM line of credit. The concept is very simple here. We're simply leaving as much money in the portfolio as possible to benefit from the rebound of the market, right? That's all we're doing. We're taking the gas off the pedal. If you're still drawing on the portfolio as it's trying to rebound, it's like swimming upstream. So here's what this strategy looks like. We start off, take that $26,000 draw on day one. 12 months go by. We look at performance and we see it's down. So we take the draw for year two from the HECM and we just leave the portfolio alone that year. No draw. Then we look 12 months later, we see it's down again. Sequence of returns risk has happened. So we take another draw for year three off of the HECM. 12 months go by, we look at the market, it's rebounding, right? So we switch back to the portfolio, and as long as it's up, even in these small years, it's up, so we just stay on the portfolio, draw. There's a down market here, another one towards the end of retirement. In total, they took 4 draws is all from the HECM. They took 26 draws from the portfolio, but look at the difference in outcome. Instead of running out of money at age 85, they leave over $1 million portfolio to their heirs. We're not talking about a little bit of difference in outcome. This is a massive difference in outcome for this client, Let's look at the summary. Portfolio success. In spite of 26 years of draws, over $1 million left to the heirs. So this is still producing revenue, right? You got a really good chance of retaining the business of the heirs because you were so successful with the parents. And then the fees collected by the advisor and the firm almost doubled, $211,000, because the portfolio grew instead of disappeared, right? Here's the side-by-side summary with the bottom line. We've got Peckham as a last resort, a zero portfolio versus $1 million portfolio over here. Estimated home value growing at 3%, be $1.2 million 30 years down the road. Again, it doesn't matter what happens here on the home value. Plug in whatever you think your market will do, right? Whatever it typically does, because this number is just incidental to determine how much home equity gets left to the heirs, right? So over here, they borrowed a little bit less. They borrowed $471,000 because they didn't, even though they borrowed more years, they borrowed 5 years instead of 4. You know, over here, they're accumulating interest much earlier in the retirement plan. So they borrowed a little bit more over here. But look at the total estate value difference. Here they leave $730,000 worth of home equity to their heirs. Over here, they leave a combination of home equity and portfolio of 1.69, almost $1.7 million, right? $1 million more than they did over here. And then, of course, we have the difference in the advisory fees collected, right? This is obviously a much more successful scenario.